Hello and welcome to Bayside's Cooking School. Today we are doing a breakfast burrito as requested by our Year 10 students as part of our burger unit. So this is the first time I've made a breakfast burrito, so fingers crossed.
Good morning.
So we're going to make a salsa first. And our salsa is made up of diced avocado, which I don't have today. So I have bought some guacamole, and I'm going to put that on at the end. If you don't have avocado, that's fine. Some diced tomato and some red onion, and then I'm going to put it into a bowl. So I already have some diced red onion here, and remember we chop it first of all vertically and then horizontally, and then you chop it to get a nice fine dice. So I've got a nice fine dice here, and I'm going to need 1/4 of a red onion. So pop that in there. Now the tomato, I'm going to ask you guys to seed the tomato. All right, so the way you seed a tomato is just you stick your thumb in there in the middle and you get rid of the seeds. Now the reason that we're doing that is because we don't want it to be too juicy, our salsa, because it's going inside a burrito. So you can imagine if you have all the seeds in there, it might get a bit soggy. Okay, so just get rid of your seeds by gouging them out with your thumb. Okay, there. And then I'm going to dice them, and I'm going to dice them nice and finely, just like my onion is diced. All right, so I've got them into strips first, you can see there, and then I'm going to turn them this way, and I'm going to cut them into a dice, a nice fine dice. Now, I don't have, as I said, some avocado, so if you do have avocado, you would just dice up your avocado. The avocados are pretty good at the moment. They're pretty cheap. They're about $1.90 at Coles, so it's not too bad, and they're beautiful. So if you can get some of them, that's great. So with the salsa, I'm also going to put some jalapenos in it. These are pickled jalapenos, okay? So if you have fresh chili at home, you can use that. This is going to give it a nice flavour. So it's up to you guys, you don't have to put this in. And this salsa is called a pico de gallo, okay? So that's like a traditional Mexican salsa. So I'll put that away. And these aren't hot, they're more of a vinegary flavour. I'm just going to dice those up. And I'm also going to put in some coriander. Now some of you guys don't like coriander. Don't put it in if you don't like it, okay? So I've got some beautifully washed coriander here, so because coriander can be quite gritty, so make sure you wash it. And I'm just going to pick it, and because it's lovely and tender, the stems, I'm not going to pick the leaves from the stems. I'm going to actually put them in my salsa. And I'm also going to keep the roots of my coriander plant, because I can actually freeze those, and I can use them when I'm making a Southeast Asian type, like a green curry paste or a red curry paste. Just about any type of curry paste, you need coriander root. So I'm just going to chop these up. I'm not going to chop the absolute heck out of them because I don't want to bruise my soft herbs really badly. Okay, so it's okay if it's a little bit rustic. So pop it in there.
Look at the beautiful colour that's in that bowl.
Yeah, that's really nice. All right, so you can maybe see there. Okay, so that's my salsa, and that's done. So now I need to heat the frying pan. So Mr. Plussy is going to heat the frying pan for me, and I'm going to let you take a look at these sausages. I am going to not wash my knife because it's just had coriander on it. Okay. So these are sausages. You can see here. They have links in them, okay, so that means they've come out of a sausage machine and the casing has been there and they're filled up and somebody has twisted them. All right, so these sausages, you're supposed to have spicy sausages for this recipe, and if you buy the barbecue sausages that you buy from Coles, this recipe will not work, and you'll see why in a minute. You need a coarse sausage. Okay, and it's pretty funny because when I'm talking about sausages, there's no kids here and nobody's even laughing about the sausage, that I'm talking about sausages. So, you know, that would normally happen. So I want you to cut the sausage, cut the link. Okay, so I'm using here a chorizo and pork sausage, And Mr. Plusty has put it quite high, so would you mind putting it down on, yeah, step 7 would be good. I'm not going to put any oil in because there's lots of fat.
Yeah.
And really here now, if I can get a bit of a close-up on the pan from my production assistant with the tripod, please, Chloe, Mackie. Okay, so just
There
yeah.
we go.
So you can see here, you're just going to press that out. I know it's going to be, you're all going to be like, ew. So actually, I might get you to stir, and you need to break it up. So I'm getting the sausage out of the casing.
Should I break it up like a mince?
Yeah, please. So this is still quite fine, isn't it? So now Mr. Plusty is going to try and really break it up a little bit as best you can, and you can see that that's the sausage casing there, right there. So it's basically like a really nicely spiced mince that you're getting already, so you don't have to flavour all the mince. Thank you, Chloe. Okay, just there's a bit closer actually. Thank you, thank you. All right, so while that's being done, I'm going to think about my next step in my burrito, and that is the egg. All right, so I'm going to put a large egg into a bowl. So crack it on there like that. And I'm going to add my cumin and my paprika. I'm not going to salt my egg because I don't want all the moisture to come out of my egg. So when you salt your eggs, what happens is all of the water comes out of it. There's a lot of water content in eggs, and we don't want to have that. That's when you get those weird kind of scrambled eggs. Okay, so there's my herbs. I mean my spices. I keep saying herbs this morning. And then I'm going to whisk my egg. Now, if you're making this for 4 or 5 people, put your 4 or 5 eggs in. Put your 4 or 5 sausages in, all right? So hopefully you'll be making this for your family.
A lovely breakfast, Sunday breakfast, maybe?
Yeah. Couple of little extra additives. We're going to put the garlic in here. I didn't put it in straight away because I don't want it to burn. We're going to put this is going to be super garlicky, but I know you all love your garlic, so it's going to be fine. Also, in my salsa, I'm going to put a tablespoon of fresh lime. Now, citrus is really good at the moment too, so oranges, lemons, limes are beautiful. So I bought a kilo of limes from the supermarket for $5.90. Now, you don't have to buy a kilo, they're about 70 cents each. Or you can just use from a bottle, it's up to you guys. But you know, you can use them in lots of different things. You can go for it. That's smelling amazing.
Yeah, I think this is almost ready.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. I reckon you might finish it off with brown it just a wee bit.
That's right.
So we get some colour on it. And so a tablespoon goes in my salsa. And that citrus, that lime really is going to cook my tomato and my onion because the citric acid will cook it a little bit. I'm also going to season it now too.
There we go.
Okay, some salt. And I'm not going to put any pepper in there because I think we're going to have enough.
There we go. I think there's some colour on there.
That's looking good. Yum. Right. I'm going to put this here. So now I've got to think about my assembly. I've got my salsa. I have got my sausage. I'm going to do my egg. We've got
I'm going to
cheese.
Just put the sausage on a paper towel to drain a little bit of that fat, but we're not going to clean the pan because we're going to use the fat from the sausage to fry our egg.
That's right, and we're going to turn that right down. Now, scrambled eggs. What can we, I could literally do a whole turn on scrambled eggs. So really, they just do not take long at all. Now, what you don't want is for your scrambled eggs to be rubbery, although we don't want them too runny because they're going into a burrito. So scrambled eggs is all about heat control. If I was making scrambled eggs at home, I would do them in a saucepan, and I would take the saucepan off, and I would whisk them, and I would put it back on the heat. And scrambled eggs are a fine art. Now, for our vegan and vegetarian friends, instead of doing the sausage, you would do like refried beans. And instead of doing scrambled eggs, you could do scrambled tofu. So use a semi-hard tofu or a silken tofu. If you use silken tofu, you're going to have to drain the tofu for overnight. So that means taking it out of its plastic, putting it in a colander, putting a plate on top of it and getting rid of that. Silken tofu is the best to use because it's not dry, but if you use it straight away, it'll be too watery. So anyway, let's get on with the eggs. So do you want to do the eggs?
Are we ready to assemble?
To assemble.
Basically, before we...
Yes. Yeah, before, you're right. Okay. So... Okay, so I've got a tortilla here. So we're going to make the burrito there. So as you can see, this isn't a really big burrito. I was thinking what would be really nice would be those flatbreads that you get from the bakery section at Coles. You know, they make them fresh if you haven't ever seen them. They're beautiful and they're a bit bigger than this and they're really soft and pliable, so they're not going to break. So I would actually recommend maybe one of those. So let's do the egg.
You want to do the egg?
Okay. I would do the egg. All right, so yeah. So it's not going to take long. You could probably turn that up a little bit.
That's it.
So it's almost going in like an omelette. Don't use metal on your mum or dad's or auntie or nan's non-stick pan because they will kill you. So you know what? I don't need any more heat.
No?
That's it. It's one egg, okay? So I'm just going to move that around. Because it's only one egg, it's not fantastic to make scrambled eggs with just one egg. But that's going to do the job. And it looks like a funny colour because it's got cumin and paprika in it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe a little bit dry, but let's not split hairs at this point. Okay, so it says, miss, I might pop that on the side and get you to please, look how much grease has come out of that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you really don't need any extra fat to cook.
No,
for this meal.
and if you wouldn't mind cleaning that so we can do our burrito. Thank you ever so much. All right, I'm going to keep that out of the way. All right, so lightly coat the pan in oil. That is going to happen when it is. So we're going to try, let's pray to the burrito gods, to do this. Assemble is what I want to say. Okay, so it says, spoon the avocado salsa. Well, I'm going to spoon my salsa on, not too much, remember, because I actually want to be able to fold this guy. All right? Happy with that. Now, I do have a little bit of guacamole if you can't live without it.
There we go. All
Yay,
right, so
thank you. So I'll put a little bit here on my, I'm not going to put too much because I think it's going to be a bit slimy.
do we put a little fat in here
We
now?
do, apparently. So
There we go.
a bit of oil in our pan and we're going to heat that up. Okay. Then the sausage, then the egg, then the cheese. All right, so sausage we put on. Maybe a little bit. I might as well just put it all in. Or maybe not. And then the egg. I don't know what this is going to taste like, so we'll have to taste this afterwards and see what it's like and we'll let you know.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Then some cheese, a third of a cup of cheese. Now, only a third. You know how I feel about you guys and your cheese consumption. Just chill out with the cheese. Don't go crazy because you'll end up feeling sick. And then you'll say, Miss Stanik's recipe was gross. It made me feel sick. It's like, no, it's just literally the 500 grams of cheese you put on. Okay, so the cheese, all right. I'm going to attempt to fold this guy. All right. I'm going to tuck in the bottom and the sides. Fold. Oh, I don't know. I reckon I'll be lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Look at that. It's working.
Try not to overfill your pockets.
Yeah, I reckon mine might even be a bit full.
But that looks good.
Yeah, and if you can get a bigger burrito thingy,
Yeah, that will help.
that will help. Okay, so look, it's staying. Because my burritos are soft, don't get those wraps that break because you'll be so annoyed because it'll keep breaking on you.
And the gluten-free ones usually tend to break easily as well.
So I can see mine's already come, but I'm going to put it on the pan now, seam side down.
Yes.
We're going to cook
seal
it.
it.
Yeah. Okay, so you stay there, buddy, like that. Okay. across. We're just going to brown it on either side. This is a bit of a technical recipe, really, isn't it?
Some skills involved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna work. So this will give it nice crunch.
Yeah. And if you
texture.
guys want spicy, you can use a spicy sausage. I actually couldn't find any in the supermarket the other day. But if you want like a merguez sausage, the African. Oh, there's that
Looks
working?
good. Yeah. All right. Can I just flip it?
Yeah, watch the sides there, miss. So this poor Mr. Pussy has a hard job.
We do it this way around. Okay. So I'm just gonna slowly flip it around. There we go. It's still in one piece, so we're doing good.
One piece. So the end of it is coming off a little bit. Just take your time with it, and if they come apart, just eat it in a plate with a knife and fork. It doesn't matter. Okay.
I think. There we go.
Yeah, I think it's going to get a bit of colour because we had our pan on at like 9. Oh, there's school bell. End of period 1.
There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Now I might move it around just a little
To
bit.
get some of that oil.
Yes. And if I was going to be super fussy, I might even turn it, but I'm a bit scared. I don't want it to come apart because we have a nice job here. But I might just brown it on.
Just on the side.
Yeah. And it's a decent heat. So it's on 7 now, so that's like a medium high. All
Okay,
right.
I think it's ready.
I think you're right.
Good.
So, here is our, just put a little bit of the salsa on the top here. Ooh, fancy.
That looks very good.
Yeah. All right, so breakfast burrito, meat eater, carnivore style, but you can do it with tofu or beans if you are not. So I'm just holding it so it doesn't fall off. All right, so while you're still here, I might cut it.
Yes,
Do you think?
let's see how it looks on the
Yes.
inside.
Now I would prefer to cut it with a serrated knife, which we don't have here. So I might get the board back and cut it, just so you guys can see the cross section.
You can even cut it before you plate it as well.
I think cutting it before you plate it would be nice, actually.
So that they can see
Yeah.
the inside of it.
There we go. Doesn't look too bad. So you could even kind of place him like that. Yeah. Okay.
That looks beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Chloe. Oh, we would also, I should say, like to thank our assistants today, our prep chefs. If you would like to come in and we will socially distance ourselves.